So now we are excited to share our awesome sister duo next, Leah and Kelsi Mercado, with their lei making workshop. There they are. Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I just adore you guys. You're always smiling. It's so nice. All right, then.
We thank you again for having us for another fresh look 2025 this year. We're always so excited to be a part of this. It's a good learning opportunity for us. I mean, we just love coming, networking with people, learning new techniques, seeing what the other designers come up with, as well as the participants. It's always such a fun time. Yeah, exactly. So, and very educational for sure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So let's watch your video and see how you did this year. Awesome.
Thank you. Roll it.
Okay.
Kelsi and Leah Mercado. They're sisters, grew up in Hilo, and are currently residing in Cabuela. They started out with Tutsi Weller called Kaleo Napua o Hawaii in 2007 and formed Aina Hua Florals in 2008 with her daughter, Jillian Moniz. Leah is currently Director of Operations, specializing in design, and Kelsi is the Creative Director, specializing in lei. Now, they did a presentation for us last year at our event, and they did a wonderful job. And so we brought them back. And I present Leah and Kelsi.
I want to thank HFNA and Eric and everybody else on the board for inviting us back here again. We enjoy spending time with all of you this past couple of days, talking about flowers and just everyday life. So once again, my name is Leah, this is Kelsi. We're part of Aina Hua Florals from Waimea. We started off not in flower. We came to the Big Island, back to the Big Island. We were living on Oahu to work at a flower shop because Tootsie Weller needed help with her Waimea shop because she's opening another shop at the hotel. So she asked us to come home and handle the Waimea shop. So we had a 3 months intense course of just everything flowers and farming. So our flower shop was located on Hawaiian Homes land, so we were able to grow a lot of stuff. So we learned how to grow the protea, how to pick it, harvest it, some bird of paradise, as well as the akuli kuli. So akuli kuli is one of our main leis that everybody asks for all the time. And so before there were flower shops and before there were lei stands, or nowadays grocery stores will offer leis for people to just come and they're all ready for you to pick up. But before all of that, if you wanted to give a lei to somebody or have a lei for yourself, you had to make it yourself. And so most people will make the leis with whatever they could gather around their own yards, their auntie's yards, neighbors' yards, the park down the road, on the side, wherever. They would gather their own materials to make leis. And so when you were somewhere and you saw somebody wearing a lei, you could tell where that person got their lei from based on the flower that was, put into the lei. So our town, Waimea, we're known for 2 specific leis. So the first lei that we're known for is the akuli kuli. So akuli kuli is an ice plant. It's just like a succulent ground cover. They use it all over, like on the highways and whatever. It grows very well all over. However, it doesn't bloom everywhere. The flowers need to be at higher elevation. They like the real cold nights and the warm, hot days. They don't really like rain. So right now, they're not loving it right now because it's too hot Here you can see the fuchsia pink. This is what we call strawberry. This is like our #1 crop that we have. It's a very prolific bloomer. All the pinks are. All the pinks are very prolific bloomers. The pinks also, the stems on the pink flowers, they're flat. So they're easy to sew, and when you put it on the needle and you push it down on your string, they sit nicely with each other. Orange and yellow are popular flowers, popular colors because they're not as readily available. The pinks will bloom year round. The yellow, the red, and the orange are seasonal. I'm kind of surprised that the orange are blooming right now because usually it's more towards the springtime that it happens. So the oranges, the orange and yellow, they have a fatter stem. It's a little harder to sew. We always start sewing the fuchsia pink first when you're first starting to learn because of the flat stems. And then once you are able to, you know, master that color, then you can move on to the orange and yellow. Since the stems are fatter, it's harder to make the lace stay nice and tight with each other. The colors. So here we have the Maui pink. I don't know if you can kind of differentiate that one little section there. It's more of like a salmony color. And then that's the next color up is the baby pink. So strawberry, Maui, and baby pink, they bloom year round. Yellow, orange, and red are seasonal. So the akuli kulile, it's flat on one side. We sew it in a half moon style. This is a little shorter length lay. I thought I was gonna have a hat to put it on, but so a full length lay will take you about 450 flowers. We pick it while it's in its budded phase, so I cannot say I pick it because I'm still sleeping when the sun comes up, but somebody will wake up for us and pick the flowers in the morning, and we sew it when it's budded, and as you're wearing it, with your body heat, the flowers will bloom. So right now, it's very hot right now, so you can see that the flowers are already blooming. But when we did sew the lei, they were nice and budded. Pansy next. And then so the second lei that Waimea is known for is the pansy lei. So the pansy lei that we made today is in the Vili style, and it's a lei po'o, so meaning lei for your head. Po'o means head. So this is just made with the pansy stems. It's difficult to grow in the field because the chickens, the pheasants, the snails, the slugs, they all love it, so it gets damaged. So we have to grow it indoors. We just have it like right outside the house, just shaded. So this is 2 days of pickings, probably maybe 200 flowers or so. It's just pansy, and then we bold the palapalai to keep the pansy upright, so that way, because it's flat, so we have to put it up somehow. So we just bowl the palapalai, and we put it underneath and tuck it in to give it some volume. So we just heard a story about pansy lei and in relation to our town in Waimea. So I don't know if you folks heard of Parker Ranch. Parker Ranch is the largest privately owned ranch in the entire United States. It started off with 500,000 acres. They leased to the Rockefellers to build Mauna Kea. They leased to in the Anaiho'omalu area where all the Waikolo resorts are. So all of that is part of Parker Ranch. So Richard Smart, one of the CEO, owner of Parker Ranch, he was a native Hawaiian, part native Hawaiian, and he still believed in our older traditions. He would, whenever there was, so Waimea, historically Waimea was a very rainy town. And so they had cattle, you know, they need the rain so that the cattle has grass, they don't dehydrate. But when there were small bits of times when it didn't rain, Richard Smart would order a pansy lei. He would go up to Anna's Pond, which is right in town. Anna's Pond, it said that there's a rock at Anna's Pond. Mana ua, so mana meaning power, not like strong power, but like the power that is within you, your mana. And ua meaning rain. So this rock, ua mana, people would go and give their ho'opupu, their offering, to the deity that lived in the pond there, because she was the entity of water. So she lived in the pond, and when she would come up to sunbathe and she would see her offering on the rock, then she would, you know, pray for the rain. And Richard Smart, he would go, he would take his pansy lei, he would give his offering, his ho'opupu on Manaua rock right there, and, you know, hope that it rains. So we just thought that it was a very interesting story to relate back to the history of our town with the pansy lei. And especially now, we learned that in like a water conservation convention that they had, because we are in like a really bad drought right now, especially in Waimea. So that was a nice story to tie into the whole water conservation and learning about the history of the pansy lei, not only, you know, for florists, but actually other aspects within our town as well. So next we're going to demonstrate how to make a vili lei. So vili is a style of lei making. It starts off with a backing. So our backing today is going to be raffia, and it means to wrap. So basically we're going to wrap the flowers on the base with raffia, and we're going to create a pattern, and we're going to just move down to create something like the pansy lei. So before you start your haku or your lei po'o, you need to gather your flowers. So traditionally we do use palapalai, but I wanted to use rabbit's fern today because that's already available in the mainland. You can also use leather leaf. Rabbit's fern is good because it is very soft. You can bend it, it's pliable. And also we use it if somebody is taking an order to the mainland. We like to use the rabbit's fern because it's much long lasting compared to the palapalai, which kind of wilts fast. So this one has a longevity to it. If this is your palapalai, you want to prepare your leaf. We're going to just take off all the leaves, and we're going to size it. So we have different sizes, so when you make your lei, you know what you're going to grab. So usually if it's like the smaller flowers, we'll use this as tips. If it's slightly larger, then we'll bow it and put it in our lei. And then if usually the bigger stems, we can break it down some more, or we can use it as our backing. So when we make lei po'o, we like to cover the backing, so that way it's not scratchy from the raffia or the stems, as well as you can hide your mechanics. So we're going to hide all the wrapping that we're going to be doing. Another thing about lei makers is that we like to use what we gather, and we don't like to waste. So this was used in one of the installations. They cut the tip off and they left this behind, so we took it out of the green waste and we're going to use it today. So we just strip it off, and then this can also be used as a bowl, similar to what the palapalai would do with the pansy, just hold it up, or just a space filler. And then when we're making lei po'o, you always want to have structure to your lei, so that way it stays straight and it's tight. You want to have multiple stems gathered here, moving down. So first, I'm just starting off by attaching the raffia. I'm just winding it around, so that way the raffia, the tail becomes part of my lei now. I'm going to bow it. We're going to wrap around 2 times, kind of tight, so it keeps it in place. Okay. So we're using Waimea grown flowers today. We have these miniature baby roses as well as tuberose. So you want to create a pattern. You can think about your pattern ahead of time, or just let it happen organically as you go along. So you can either put 1 or 2. So I'm putting 2 flowers here, and then we're going to just wrap around the stem, pull it a little tight to hold it in place. I'm going to bowl the areca, wrap around, pull it tight. So now the stems of the areca is going to be part of the backing of my lei to help give it structure here. So as you can see, the backing now, the raffia, we like to cover that. So I'm going to just bow a fern and add it to the back. Add it to the back and add it to the sides. Double this way. And again, securing it 2 times with the raffia and pulling it tight, and then continuing the pattern. So while you're making your lei, you always want to have good thoughts, because whatever you're thinking is going to come out in your lei. If you're thinking, oh, my lei is so ugly, it's going to come out ugly. You have to just think like, oh, it's the most beautiful lei I'm making, and you're going to put your love in it. Like, you're creating this lei for someone, if it's for a party or event or even just a regular order. You know, you want to put your mana into the lei, your aloha into the lei. 2 rolls. Some stems, like tuberose, it's easy to break, so you could put the fern in between to prevent it from breaking. Okay, so that's just a small demonstration of how to make lei vili, so wrapping flowers along a base. Okay. So since we have been in a drought across all islands here, one of the plants that is hard to come by now is the maili. So the maili here is an endemic vine grown in the rainforest. It's used for special occasions. We usually use it for special occasions, funerals, weddings, maybe graduation, or just every day when people are performing. But this one is a vine, and what they have to do is when you get to the plant itself, you have to strip it. The proper way is to strip it in the forest. Some people are not proper and they actually cut the vine, the whole vine, and bring it back with them to the shop and then strip it there. But you want to strip it in the forest. That way when you go back next time, there's going to be more for you to gather again. And you just, and keep the plant, yeah, just part of it. You don't take all of it. So what they do is they strip the vines. When they come back, they're just like strands, and there's like 1 or 2 leaves. And then what they're going to do is they're going to twist it together and knot it to form this lei here. So this is actually a 6-strand lei. So the name of the technique of the knotting of one particular material is called naki'i. And so that is, again, just one variety material, and you knot it together to create the lei. So maili has been, it's a traditional lei from ancient times. It was used as like peace offerings, symbolizing, again, the peace and respect and honor for the land. It was said that, you know, the maili is like a relative of human beings. You know, they even would designate some of the demigods as like the goddess of the maili. So Laka, she's one of the goddess of the maili. She's also the hula goddess. So a lot of songs that portray Laka, they would adorn themselves with this lei. So as Leah mentioned, you know, maili is hard to come by because it does grow wild in our forests. Like every place else, deforestation, again, drought, you know, just making way for civilization and for us humans to, you know, thrive in our areas. It really did put a damper on maili production. So as lei makers needed to come up with other ideas, they need to come up with solutions. What can be done so that we can still offer a maili style lei for special occasions, but how can we offer this to the community that, one, maili is getting very expensive. So how can we offer it that will be more sustainable and it can be more affordable for everyone?
So you mentioned price. Can you give us
a price? What? Okay, so when we were starting out, 2008, we bought our maili for $12. Yeah, $12. That was our wholesale price. Now our wholesale price is $45. Yeah. So wholesale price for this lei for us is $90. So you can do the markup in your head. But you know, the maili, later on you should come up and smell the maili because it is a nice, very subtle, fragrant smelling lei. So back to, so substitutions. Lei makers created the maili style tea leaf lei. So yesterday you folks made tea leaf lei. And so it's the same concept, twisting the 2 leaves together, but just one added element of the leaf in between each twist. So Leah will demonstrate. Okay, so to prepare to make a tea leaf lei, Sue showed you yesterday, there's different ways. The tea leaf, this is a tea leaf in its natural form here. It's stiff. So in order for us to work with it and make it pliable, we have to soften the leaf. Our chosen method would be over an open flame. So open fire, we run it through a couple times. You will see the green gradually go darker, and it ends up like this. So this is the burnt version here. It's soft, you can crush it and nothing, it bounces back. So from natural to soft here. Other methods that people do use would be, you can cut the leaf first off the stem in strips. You can boil it in hot water. You can put it in the microwave. You can freeze it. A lot of people freeze it because that way it's prepared. You just take it out and you can use it. You can work with it. When we were growing up, we ironed it. It's a little longer, but putting it over the open flame is the fastest method for us. So once you have the leaf burned, you're gonna cut it off the midrib here, and you're gonna get strips like this for the soft part. And then for the tucking in here to mimic the miley leaf, we cut the natural tea leaf, and we just make parallelograms like this. All right, so I'm gonna just demonstrate how we cut it while Kelsi just talks. Okay, so this is the burn leaf. We just cut it straight off the stem here, just like that. And then for these ones here, same thing, cut it off the stem here. And then I like to line it up tip to tip here. If there is any yellow, you wanna cut it off now. It just makes it easier later on when you're making your lei. And then you're just gonna cut strips. Just cut the strip. All right, so this one I'm almost done with it, so I'm gonna just show you how we do it. The good thing about tea leaf is that's very pliable. I have a knot here and it just held the lei in place. Nothing moves, so I'm gonna just take it off and start my lei from here. So as you can see, I'm done with the leaf. I need to add on something. So I take my burnt leaf here. I look for the nice tip. This is the side this is the bottom of it. This is the nice tip. I always want to stick this side out. And I'm gonna kind of stick it out same length as the leaf that's already there to just continue on the pattern. So I twist, we only twist on the right. We twist on the right and then we go over on the left here. And with this, we pinch it. We pinch it here and then we stick it in the lei. So then you just continue on twisting, pinching your tips here. And Leah, how many do you put a leaf in every twist, or how many twists do you do? Oh, I do put a leaf in every twist. You don't have to, but I think it looks fuller at the end. So yeah, just again pinching and putting it in, twisting it over. Twist only on the right and tuck it in. Keep going. And then if you added 2 leaves to each twist, if you, instead of just 1, your lei will be much fuller. So generally, our miley is about little over 6 feet. So we're just gonna continue on to this lei about 33 inches on each side. So the amount of leaves that we use, for the burnt part, it's between 6 and 8, just depending on how big your leaf is. And then for the cutting part, it's about 8 per side, cut up into the strips. Some people just continue going on, but we like to start and stop in the middle, so that way the leaves are gonna be facing all one way. And this will be right behind the neck, so we kind of leave it bare, because sometimes, it can get a little scratchy. And at the end, we just tie a simple knot because the tea leaf will hold it in place. Okay, and that's it. So aside from, other substitutions that need to be made as far as our leis are concerned, we have very little lei farmers that, that continue throughout the generations. A lot of old-timer farmers, they had acres and acres of lei flowers. But as the generations went on, nobody wants to farm anymore. So we are having a hard time, getting the same type of lei flowers that we generally are used to having. So again, we need to make substitutions, and one of the leis that nobody farms anymore, or hardly anybody farms, is the Royal Ilima. So Royal Ilima is the island flower of Oahu. So during May Day, we have a hard time trying to represent Oahu. This is kind of what it looks like. It's this small size, and when it's made, it is in this circular, this kind of shape here. So the Royal Ilima is paper thin, like paper thin. One of our lei makers shared with us that he grew up on Oahu. His mom had a lei shop, and he would have to pick and sew the Royal Ilima. Size it, and then they would have to poke it with just a needle. And thousands and thousands of flowers he had to do. And he said never again, he's not ever gonna touch that flower ever again, because he's just days and days of just poking. So they'll pick it and they'll lay it on a styrofoam with the face down and the butt up, and then they poke it in stacks, and they make little stacks and pull it down. So this is what a Royal Ilima would look like. But then again, we have to make substitutions. So what we do is we use the lantern Ilima. Lantern Ilima here, it comes, so they're just these little tiny flowers here. You can ask Russell what the scientific name is, but we just call it lantern Ilima. And then what we do is, to mimic the Royal Ilima, we actually cut the flower out of the calyx and we just sew the middle part, or peel it off like this. But usually we cut it. Depending, sometimes there's a stem that you can clearly see. If there's a stem, it's easy to cut. Like this one has a stem, I can just cut it. But sometimes the stems are shorter or a little fatter or harder to see. I should be wearing my glasses so I can see it, but I'm in denial. So when we're preparing the lei again, we're gonna cut all of the insides out. So it's just this. Once we have about 80 to 90, depending on how big the flower is, then we can string it together. So Kelsey's just gonna demonstrate a small portion of making the lantern Ilima lei. So this style of lei making, this is one of the most common styles. It's just ku'i style, where you just sew the flower onto the needle. So here you can see, here's a stem here. We're just aiming for right in the front, right through the middle, and out the back. Usually when I'm sewing this lei, I just count. I know some people say lei making is like meditative, you know. So you just sit here, you just count how many you did. Okay, I have 10 flowers. Push it down. Then you just pick it up and do it again till all your 100 flowers are gone. So this actually is the closest thing that we found that will mimic the Royal Ilima. It still gives that feathery look. It has a similar color. It's a little darker. It has more of the red tones to it, but so this is what we have to use. And May Day happens every year, every single school. So every Oahu boy and girl who is a representative, the prince and princess of that island, they either get this or the silk leis now. So we sewed the single blossoms here. But we also have the double blossom, which is like twice the size. And we made this bambucha lei here, bambucha umi. And it's just so fluffy, we love it. It's a nice lei to wear. It's double, quadruple the size. Triple the size, yeah. So I don't know if we mentioned, but generally your regular length lei is about 36 inches. But really the rule of thumb is if it goes over your head, it fits. And a lot of people, you know, they kind of want it to sit wherever, maybe whatever attire they're wearing, you know, a little higher, a little lower, but in general, it is 36 inches. The next lei we have, again, is the ku'i style. So again, sewing the flower onto your needle. So this one here is ku'i poi poi, so poi poi meaning round. The umi, we just did one single flower right through the center. When you do poi poi style, you do 3 and you face the flowers out so that, well, you can do more than 3. This one here is 3 flowers in the rounds, and you sew it round. And then we just kind of did like a little spiral pattern. The umi went towards the middle. We're turning it to the side, and we're gonna pierce the side here. So we pierce and pluck the butt, the end of the flower at the same time. That way you minimize the touching. Yes. And we're just making 3 rounds. So once we have 3, we're gonna take the next flower and just go right over the first one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So once you have a good amount, you don't wanna put too much because when you pull it down, you're just gonna smash everything. So between 3 or 4 sets is fine. You push it all the way down to the end, and then you can add your next flower here. So baby rose head, same thing. We're gonna turn it to the side, and we're gonna pierce the butt area, pluck off the stem at the same time. The roses are a little tougher, so this will get pulled down single by itself. We're not gonna try to group it together with the tuberose. So once you have your 3, then you just pull it down. And then leis, again, are generally made in a repeating pattern. But like every other kind of art that you do, you know, you can decide that you want to change your pattern. Nowadays, again, with us not having as many lei farmers, we've been finding that sometimes people cannot get enough flowers to make a whole lei. So they'll make what we call hapa leis. So hapa is like mixed. So they'll have like a section of tuberose, a section of ilima. They'll go from a poi poi style, and then they'll change to maybe like just the single style. So they'll have a few strands of that, all encompassed in the same lei. It is very creative, and again, you know, we need to think about how we're gonna keep our industry going here when we don't have the same materials that we're generally used to having. Okay. So for this particular poi poi style that we made with the tuberose, we actually spiraled the lantern ilima throughout. You can kind of tell it's spiral. That way. The flowers aren't even, I mean, the flower size, if the flower sizes were the same, it would look a lot more uniform. So it's just another way to get creative. Instead of just making the same block pattern here, we can spiral it. So when we do the spiral, we do 1, 2, 3. But when you add the flower that's going to be spiraled, it's actually a little off. So you don't put it directly on number 3, you put it like between 3 and 1. Okay, so I'm sure you folks noticed that we're hanging up the leis on this structure here. So generally when you get a lei, you know, I personally believe that the lei is the physical embodiment of aloha. Whoever gave you this lei, they're giving you all their love, whatever, you know, they put into making the lei for you. They're giving you their aloha. They're giving you all the positive chi and energy out there in the world, you know. So when you receive a lei, it's so, we say poho. It's so, what is the word for poho? Wasteful, thank you. To just wear it for, you know, a few hours and then throw it away. You need to be able to admire what was given to you. So generally we will, when we take it home, we have maybe like a picture of a loved one you want to hang your lei on. Some people put it on the tree outside. Depending on what kind of lei it is, even after I go home, I'll sleep with it. Plumeria is my favorite, so the petals are all over the bed when I wake up in the morning. Our inspiration from this Japanese garden here, we have to think about, again, how do we relate this design to our culture? So Japanese, they forage in their own yards for their day flower. Hawaiians, we forage in our own yards for our own leis. So the day flower represents, you know, for you to sit there, it's like a Zen ceremony. So sit, reflect, meditate. For you to sit and think about the circle of life. So the bloom flowers, the vitality of life, the apex of everything that is positive and beautiful. But when it starts to, we say mai, when it starts to wilt, that's when you realize that, you know, it's coming back around. it's dying, you know, it's our mortality basically. So, you know, you have to sit there, you need to reflect, and just like this display, when you have your leis at home, you want to sit there, you want to reflect on the aloha that was given to you. You want to just feel all the mana from your lei and all the positive energy that you get from that. So, you know, just kind of bridging the two cultures together. We're thousands of miles away, but yet we still all have similar beliefs. We also learn Ichigo Ichi. Basically, it's once in a lifetime. That's another thing that we took from, another aspect we took from the tea ceremony. Once in a lifetime. You're never going to have this experience again. You can come back here next year. The setup will be the same. The people will not be the same. The flowers are not going to be the same. The feeling you have is not going to be the same. So they want you to sit and meditate and just feel what you're feeling in the moment. And so, again, you know, with our leis again, sitting there meditating, feeling what you feel when you got that particular lei from that loved one that gave it to you. It's never going to be the same. It may be the same flower, maybe not the same color. You know, maybe it wasn't for the same occasion. So Ichigo Ichi, just feeling what you're feeling right now in that moment. And that's what we wanted. We hope that that's what you folks are feeling with our design here today. Okay.
Wow, Leah and Kelsi, you did it again. You guys get better and better every year. The stories are wonderful. All those additional anecdotes were just fantastic, fantastic. And your demo and your workshop, I think everybody enjoyed this so very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Johnny, any questions?
We do have some questions from our viewing audience.
Excellent.
Ready, ladies? The first one is, do you buy Miley from Miley producers, or is it all foraged?
Well, we get it from somebody who forages. We have a grower who actually has permission from a private ranch in Ka'u, and he has to hike probably 3 miles in and 3 miles out to get them for us.
Wow. Okay.
It's a labor of love.
Great. Okay. What is 1 or 2 lei flowers that you recommend growers start producing more of?
We definitely should look into having some more of the little baby roses that we use for the leis. The longevity of the flowers, they last really, really well. It would be an excellent export for Hawaii. They're smaller in size versus the ones that you get from South America and so forth. So you'll definitely get it as a better quality if it was exported from Hawaii as opposed getting it all the way from South America. But rose heads for sure is a good one. What do you think? Pretty much any kind of lei flower. Of course, orchids are always welcomed. The local orchid farms, they can't seem to produce enough orchids for what we need. The different varieties. I mean, we basically use a dendrobium variety for leis, but before they used to use the vanda orchids, and nobody really grows the vandas anymore for leis. So that's another orchid variety that we can look into as well.
Do the small rose flowers, are they grown here on Hawaii Island?
Yeah.
And they
right in one here. We have one farm that does,
What are your methods for pulling down lei flowers without crushing them?
So we'll just put less. So say our set, if we're doing a round style, a double lay, one set is 3 flowers. So we'll probably maybe pull 2 or 3 sets down. You know, if you put too much on your needle and you pull it down, you'll just crush it. So you just put less.
I think the question is more like, what
What is
are your methods for pulling down lay flowers without crushing them?
For
I think
pulling
like
down the lay
area, things like that, maybe.
So I always kind of cup the flower with my hands and guide it down the string while I'm pulling.
Okay, great answers.
So
great
I know,
answers.
yeah, so I noticed that like you are using shorter lay needle than some of the long ones. Maybe that's another reason why when you have a long needle and you string so many, it maybe tends to crush. Would that be right?
Yeah.
Because I see that you do use shorter needle and that probably prevents that crushing.
And then the
Excellent.
shorter needle is also a little bit more sturdier. It's a little fatter than the traditional lay needle.
Mhm.
So, like with the roses that are a lot tougher to sew, it's a little easier when we use the fatter needle as well.
So I noticed that, and you were amazing talking to us about sourcing and procurement for lei making. I mean, all of it's coming from your local pickers, I'm assuming. Is that right? Yes?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with the cigar lei making project that you had for the attendees, first of all, how many blooms were they per lei?
Like at least 500, 600. Yeah.
500 to 600.
Yeah.
So how do you make a procurement for so many people? And to guarantee that, like, that's mind-boggling to me. That's a lot of blooms.
So we had to
You answer.
So we just put the order in with the farm as soon as we know what we wanted to do. So that way we can be on the top of their list. When harvest time comes, they go in order of who places the order first. So if we weren't able to get enough, then we would have just made a substitute. We would have maybe added a few greenery in there or added a different flower in there. But we were lucky enough that they had enough for us to provide.
That's just amazing. 500 to 600. Oh my gosh. It's mind-boggling to me. Awesome.
I have a question for you. Is the lei making business highly competitive or more community supported here on the Big Island?
In the sense where, we are limited on our supply. So, we only can get so much of each thing here. So, I guess people kind of know which flower shop or lei stand to go to based on the variety of lei that they want to get. So not everybody will have the same flowers. Not everybody kind of does the same style. So in that sense, it's more like community supported. We don't all do the same thing. We let, some people do something and vice versa. But competitive in the sense that our materials are limited.
Yeah, that must be difficult. So I have another question that I just thought of.
Okay.
So what happens with Merry Monarch when that comes up? What kind of quantity of leis are produced for a week like that?
So for Merry Monarch, honestly, a lot of the respective halals, they should be making their own leis. So they should be going out to the forest and gathering, their own materials to make what they need. But we do, of course, our Kuli Kuli would be our number one requested lei during Merry Monarch. Sometimes it will be for the halal groups for their performances. A lot of times it's just for the judges or the host and hostesses, but we seldomly will get requests for other lei flowers like rose strands and so forth. And when it's that kind of leis, then we, of course, will put our, requesting with the farms. But again, if it's because we're so limited, sometimes we might have to shorten the length of the lei to give the amount of strands that they need.
So this past Merry Monarch year, we helped out a halal from California and they requested crown flowers. So they had, I think was it 60 of each color. So we did 60 lavender and 60 white, and that was all locally sourced from Puuko, right? Oh, yeah, right here on the Big Island.
So when you do that, When you say 60, is that 60 lays?
60
Right?
strands, yeah. 60
Okay, so
lace.
how many blooms that is a strand?
So that one was a long lay.
That one
so
was
it
a
needs
long lay.
150.
Yeah, because a regular lay.
It was a longer lay, so it was 150 flowers for each lay, and we had 60 of each color.
Oh my gosh. And is it just the two of you or do you have a big team? What's the other question?
Other people that help us.
Oh wow.
For the most part, yeah, we're going out. We actually go to pick the flowers. So we do pick the crown flower, we pick the fern, some other flowers.
Wow.
We pick up like the tuberose. We'll pick up the rose heads, but yeah, so it's just from all over.
Wow, that's amazing. It's a lot of manpower that goes into these beautiful lay, isn't it? So it's not just sweat and tears, but and then love on top of it. So it's a pretty amazing art that you guys do so beautifully.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Johnny?
I have one more question that I've always thought about. Before days, people used to wear a lot of carnation lay. Do you ever get any requests for carnation lay?
Oh, definitely. So I recommend a double carnation lay when anybody calls and they don't know what kind of lay to get for graduation. That's always my number one suggestion is a carnation lay. And you probably don't see it as often now because we don't have any local carnation farmers. We did have, a large carnation farm here in our town, but again, they stopped carnation, and they moved to potted plants and so forth. But we did have several carnation farmers, even the mini carnations. Some people grew that. But definitely during graduation season, that is my number one suggestion is a double carnation lay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of all the different arts from Hawaii, I mean, really, lei making has to be supreme. It's truly amazing, and it's so fun watching you guys just twirl that thing so quickly. I love even watching you, cut away the tea leaves. Like it's so fast. It's so professional. Such an expert you guys are. So thank you so much for a wonderful session. Beautifully done, you guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so
very
much.
All right.